Just take this. So this is the new Instaset. What do you call this? Spray rig, which needs to be hooked up to an air compressor, which is what the yellow hose here is for. They've got compressed air lines that we're going to use. Otherwise, we'd use a compressor.
It's marked air in and air out as well. So the air inlet line is right here. I've got the valve off right now, but when I open it up, it'll activate the pump and everything once we get everything plugged in.
And this pump is not electric or gas, it's just air driven. And these are your dials in the front here. You're on.
After you have the air line hooked up, we've got all these separate lines that come with the rig. This line right here is the main line that runs to the gun that you're going to be spraying the coating through. There's a 3/4 inch line here that has the polymer. This is going to hook up to the main diaphragm pump here. There's a black line that you run your air through, and the clear line you run the catalyst through. Then it comes with 2 whip lines as well that we actually connect from the back end of the pump here, from the rig to these lines here with quick connects. So what I'm going to do is hook everything up. So this top main polymer line, 3/4 inch, sticks right in here into these cam blocks. Open that up, lock it down. My valves are both off, so I don't have any product flowing through the system right now. Put these clips here. And then we have to connect, again, the catalyst line and the air line. So both of these have little quick connects on them that came with the rig. I'm going to connect clear to clear, catalyst to catalyst, push it in. Make sure it's sealed all the way. You don't want these to be loose, otherwise they'll bust open.
So it's just a press in and seal?
Yeah, just a quick connect. You press in, make sure it's got, and then you can pull on it to make sure it's firm and snug and actually connected.
And now, how do you release those at the end of the day?
At the end, there's a little clip on them that you actually just push in at the end, and they pull right off. It's a little spring loaded right here at the end. So you push them in, you pull, they're connected, and you have to manually detach them. So now the ends of these lines, I've got the air line and the catalyst line, they hook up to the back of the rig over here. So what I'm going to do is the air outlet line, so again our black line is for air, it's a quick connect. I'm just going to push it in and pull on it to make sure it's securely locked in there. And then this bottom one is for the catalyst. I'm going to again take this, stick it in the line, push it in, pull out, make sure it's secure, and we're good to go. Now you've got an inlet for the catalyst as well and an inlet for the polymer. They're both transfer pumps, and they have little PVC pipes. So this little small one goes into the 5-gallon buckets of the catalyst. There's a bung opening on the catalyst bucket. You're actually going to slide this in, and it's going to transfer into here, goes through the pump, and comes out this line and goes straight through the line and up to the gun, and then goes into the product on the roof. And the same thing with the polymer line. You got a big transfer pump, big transfer line, goes into the drum, and again this transfers through, it runs through this diaphragm pump coming into the bottom, out through the top, into the spray line, and then it goes right up to the roof.
Okay, now you're on.
Alright, so this is a drum of the Instaset polymer. So if you come over here, we've used about half of the drum already, but over time the product does settle. So if you can come closer, the rig comes with this paddle, and what we're going to do, you can see that the product looks a little tan. It's because all of the pigments and particles in there have actually settled to the bottom. So what you have to do when you open up a new drum is mix it, and you'll see that it starts turning white. And Rick, if you can pull it up, you actually pull from the bottom. It's much whiter on the bottom than it is on top. So just take a couple minutes. It's very thin. It's like a watery consistency. Just take a minute or two and mix it all up. And then once we're mixed up, we can drop in the transfer pump. I need to move this closer. So once it's all mixed, we drop this in. Again, it goes straight into the bottom of the drum, and it's going to suck it off the bottom and go straight into the rig. Bucket of the catalyst, it comes with a little bung opening on it. So what we're going to have to do is pull this open. You actually have to cut the bung off. So I have a knife here, I'm just going to slice through it. And this is so that we can get the transfer pump in there.
We need to mix the catalyst.
The catalyst does not need to be mixed.
Thank you.
So we have the small 5-gallon transfer line. We're just going to drop it right in here in the bucket, and we're good to go. So now we have the polymer setup and the catalyst setup. The next thing we have to do is just turn on the pump and start spraying.
Airline hookup?
Yeah.
What about priming?
Priming depending on the substrate. If it's metal or TPO, it depends. But right now,
priming the machine?
Priming the machine.
Oh, priming the machine, no. You don't have to do anything to prime the machine.
Once it's hooked up like that,
Yeah.
you just turn it on
We
and
just
go.
Make sure the product flows through the lines and we're good to go.
Okay, so you'll have at least a point at the very beginning where you want it to come out of your lines,
Yes.
you know.
Yeah, we'll check it up on the roof. The first couple sprays, first couple minutes, we'll make sure the right product is coming out in the right concentration. We'll dial it all in.
And when do you start? Do you dial it in down here, or do you dial it in up at the end of the gun?
On the roof, yeah, up on the roof in the actual conditions, environment that you're going to be spraying in.
And again, those dials on the machine, they get set where?
They get set down here before once we turn the airline on and connect everything and get it running, we'll dial in the regulators and make sure the correct pressure is going, and then we'll move to the roof.
And the correct pressure for those, again, you said is about 100?
Both the catalyst and the polymer, they're set at 100, and then the airline is set anywhere from 70 to 80, depending on how fast you want the product to come out of the gun.
Okay.
All right, so this is the gun that comes with the Instaset spray rig. It has all the inlets on the back here. This large port right here goes to the polymer. This small port over here goes to the catalyst, and then the port on the center of the gun goes to the airline. The gun has 2 tips on the front. The one on the left-hand side where the polymer comes in, it's a straight vertical spray tip. The line that comes out of the catalyst side of the gun is actually an angled piece. So you actually want the angled piece to spray at 45 degrees so that the products mix in midair about 6 inches away from the gun. So the polymer sprays out of one line, one end, one tip, and the catalyst sprays out of another line at a 45-degree angle and intercepts the polymer, and that's how they become catalyzed. That's how you can control the rapid curing time. We have a regulator over here on the right-hand side as well for the catalyst. So the catalyst comes in here. There's a pressure gauge, and you can actually dial in the amount of catalyst that's flowing through the line, and it's dependent on the pressure. That's how you can monitor it. So the more pressure you have, the more catalyst is flowing through. The less pressure you have, the less catalyst is flowing through. More catalyst equals faster dry time. Less catalyst equals slower dry time. So what we can do, the rig also comes with an extension wand as well. So if you're taller guys, we're talking 6'3", 6'4", and up, they can actually have an extension that goes to the end of it, that these tips actually spray on the edge of this. And you're going to want to spray anywhere from about 2 feet away from the roof. So it's important that we don't do a perpendicular motion back and forth like this, because you'll have an inconsistent pattern. So you actually want to spray pointing straight at the roof, directly across in a flat line, as controlled as you can. You don't want to make a spray fan motion like this, because you'll have an inconsistent pattern. So what we can do here next is we can set up the gun. So the gun has an inlet here, again for the polymer. There's cam locks on the line. So this is the opposite end of the line that's hooked up to the spray rig over there. So the polymer goes to the big line. Secure the cam locks down here. We're locked in. Again, catalyst is the clear line, air is the black line, so the catalyst portion is going to go over to the catalyst portion of the gun. Again, press it in, secure it well, pull back, make sure it's secured. Air goes into the middle line of the gun. Push it in well, pull it out. These are all, again, quick connects. And that's how we set up. Both of our lines are off for the polymer. Our regulator is all the way dialed down right now, so you can't have anything flowing through, and that's how you set up the gun. So now that we have the gun set up, what we're going to do is open up the airline to engage the pressure in the pump. We're also going to monitor the regulators for all the different, the catalyst, the polymer, and the air, and make sure it's set to the right setting. And then we're going to go ahead and open up all the lines to the pump and prime the lines and get everything spraying out of the gun. So once I turn it on, the diaphragm pump's going to start kicking. You may not hear me, but you can see what I'm doing.
And again, because there's no electric motor, it's just air driven.
Yeah, it's just the diaphragm
That
pump.
as soon as we turn on the air pressure, everything kicks in.
So I'm going to open up the valve now, let the air come in. So again, the airline is at 80. We want it to run around 80.
you wait for it to stop?
Yeah, once it stops, then that's when all the lines are completely pressurized.
Handle.
All right, there we go. So now we can actually dial in the catalyst again. The air lines. So this regulator, this is where we're going to set it to. We can set it anywhere from 70 to 80. We'll go right in the middle there around 75. And you want the coating and the catalyst to be close to 100. So we'll dial those up all the way. We're good to go. So I still have the lines closed on the gun here. I'm going to open these up and allow the polymer to start flowing into the gun. And we have a trash bucket over here that we're going to prime the gun and prime everything with and make sure it's all dialed in the right way. So I've opened up both lines and now the polymer should be flowing through the gun. It's air from the line.
Now what about anything that's left over in the lines?
Yeah, so last time we used this rig, we cleaned out the rig with water and pine sol. So the lines have some pine sol and water in it. You want to make sure that you spray the gun for a minute or two and clear the lines and get all of that residue out of there.
Are you spraying only polymer or catalyst as well?
Right now I'm clearing the lines of water, but we will end up we'll dial in the amount of catalyst and polymer together right here. Alright, so you can see now, look at my bucket over here, you can see the catalyst actually starting to work. So we actually cleared out all the water and the pine sol, and we're actually starting to spray coating.
Okay.
If you look at my regulator for the catalyst, right now it's shooting around 90. Typically you'll be anywhere from 45 to 50 is really where you want to be on most operations.
So why is it so high right now?
That's where I had the dial set in at. So I'm going to go back through. And relieve the pressure. So right now we're shooting around 45. Yeah. And we'll make final tweaks and tunes to the amount of catalyst once we actually get up on the roof and see how it actually applies. Are we on? Okay. So what I've done now is we're up on the roof now, I've opened up the polymer line to come in. I've completely dialed down the catalyst to 0. So there's 0 catalyst right now, and what we're going to do is, based on the current conditions in the environment, we're going to adjust to the amount of catalyst that's required. So I'm going to use this air exhaust here on the roof to kind of dial it in and use it as an example. So there's 0 catalyst right now. It's just straight polymer. It'll dry like a normal traditional coating. And if you see, you can look at it and it's dripping. The actual coating is dripping off of the metal. So what I'm going to do is open up the catalyst a little bit, get closer to that 40 PSI range, and try to dial in how much we're going to use. You can see immediately it starts fluffing up. It almost looks like a sponge. Yeah, it's very textured. And that's how you know when you're at the right concentration. I'm over spraying here so you can actually, for the video, and try to see everything. But it has a very textured, granular look to it once it's applied.
The texture also helps with drip surface once it is cured out, especially on a metal smooth surface. So now when you're walking on it, it's not so slippery.
So I'm just going to go ahead and finish spraying this off just to make sure we're using the right amount of catalyst.
It puts out a wide swath, about a 36-inch fan, rather than a traditional 18.
And you can see I'm spraying about 2 feet away from the surface.
Show them how you can build it up, Jeremy.
Yeah. So you can come over here and look at these areas where there's some scrim actually coming through that we might want to cover up. So I'm actually going to open up some more catalyst and allow it to cure up a little bit more rapidly. We'll actually fill in those areas. It actually foams up, kind of like spray foam.
How fast will it set up?
Depending on the amount of catalyst, this will set up in about 15 minutes. Those areas that we just sprayed.
That's the selling point of this.
it's a beautiful thing to set up so quickly.
Well, I mean, that way we can see what the effect is with the air collection. Oh, alright. I didn't realize that there was a plan.
Oh, yes, sir. Oh, yes, sir.
I didn't
You
realize
don't know Harry very well, do you?
I didn't realize there was a plan to all this madness.
They could check in 6 months, a year from now. There's a plan to Harry's madness.
Make sure you tell Harry that. Say, Paul didn't realize he had a plan
Can you
set
put
up.
our hose that way a bit? Thank you. We want to get it completely out of the way. Thank you.
Okay, so what we're going to do here is he's going to show us how to build it up on a seam so you can fill it in. He's dialed up the catalyst with more catalyst.
Correct.
So that it'll dry quicker with a heavier coat.
What seam? There's no seam. Remember.
You missed a
top.
spot.
Oh.
All right, now we got it. And how about the lap seam there?
So we've got everything set up. I'm going to open up the lines for the polymer and everything. I'm going to spray it into this plastic trash bucket. And we're going to start cycling through all the cleaning water.
Now are you spraying both catalyst and polymer
I've got, the cleaning water solution going both through the catalyst line and the polymer line.
at the same time? Okay.
Same time.
Okay, tell us what you did.
We're about halfway through the cleaning cycle. I took the spray tips off of the gun so that the clean water solution can flow through easier and clean out the line. So we took the spray heads off. We're just cycling clean the last bucket of clean water. No solvent, no cleaner in it, just water. Running that last thing through the line and cleaning out everything, the rest of it.